don't do that. Look what they did. Look what they did to us. They did this. Put it on my tab at NBC, okay? Sorry. I fought the law, and the law won.
Yo, what's up? Chris Simms here with my man Ahmed Fareed.
What up?
Here we go. I got it right. I still, even though I practice saying it, I still get nervous saying it regardless.
No, me too. Hold on, let me try it.
Yeah.
Chris. Did I get it? Did I nail it?
Yeah, you're funny. You're very funny.
Wait, what was that? Was that a ticket?
We got a ticket. So that's coming up in this podcast. We're going to go to an interview that we had with DeAndre Hopkins at Washington Park in New York City. And yes, we didn't apply for a shooting pass, or what do they want to call that? Whatever you need.
So you had like multiple cameras there.
We had multiple cameras there, right? And we needed a pass or something to get away. The park permit, thank you, that was the word. The park rangers came, they laid down the law. They were very nice about it. They let us finish our work.
Really?
But they wrote us a ticket.
They go, you will be paying us money though.
So that was great.
You couldn't just say like, oh, we're just tourists coming through here.
No, they didn't buy that. Not when we have DeAndre Hopkins there and like 6 other cameras there. But either way, really cool interview with DeAndre Hopkins. You could see that, youtube.com/NBC Sports. Please download the podcast there as well. Download the podcast anywhere. It's available, iTunes, you name it. Get at me at CSimmsQB on Twitter, at CSims. I always forget my Instagram. At Simms Unbuttoned. I'll get that straight at some point in my life. And then the other cool thing we did too with DeAndre Hopkins, which I'm just telling everybody out there, we'll have a little thing on our YouTube channel, .com/NBC Sports, where we did a little prove us wrong that DeAndre Hopkins is not the top receiver in football.
Change our minds.
Change our minds is what we call it.
Change our minds. Right. Super cool. And
thanks,
I've just seen the picture of it, of you sitting at the table with DeAndre Hopkins, best receiver in football, change our minds.
You're right.
And so you really did. You had random people just come up to you and talk about DeAndre Hopkins, where he ranked.
Yes. Well, I take it upon, myself, and you're involved in this now, of course, too, to give people who deserve credit more credit, right? I mean, whether we want to call ourselves the Players Podcast, but DeAndre Hopkins is one of those guys who is certainly in the conversation for the best receiver in football.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes he's overlooked because he's not the biggest personality or the sexiest guy on the planet.
In Houston, too, I think that plays
exactly
a part,
right. He's only had 2 years with Deshaun Watson, so he's really jumped on the national scene that way. So it was really cool. We had a crowd around us. I mean, I think he was pleased. To show that he's a star. I mean, we had a bunch of people from 20 to 40 years old surrounding us, watching the interview.
They recognized him, So
yes,
for sure.
They recognized me too.
Probably helped their fantasy team. No, and he recognized you too. It's a really interesting story, and I don't know if we're going to hear it. We are going to hear a part of it coming up a little bit later in this podcast with your discussion with him. So I think he may have talked about him not realizing he was a fan of yours until he
met me.
Oh my
gosh. He didn't really know who he was doing the interview with.
Not quite, but then when he did, he was like, wait a second, you were number 2 in Texas. A really cool moment. I think we'll probably hear it coming up in the podcast.
Definitely.
So that's a little bit later on. Yes, you can subscribe. We got a lot. What are you looking at?
Are you trying to disrespect for Simms Unbuttoned and go 2 unbuttoned buttons?
So, I'm going 2 buttons down if you're watching on YouTube right now.
You do have a nice little chest hair there.
So that's what I do. So normally I wear an undershirt with it,
played.
but today I felt like the chest hair was looking like pretty decent.
Yeah, you look like definitely sexiest man alive material today.
I went no t-shirt, no undershirt underneath, just to let it fly a little bit here. I'm feeling more comfortable here in our 3rd week, and I also feel more comfortable because our bosses came to it and they said they go, Ahmed. They go, something's not quite right, with the podcast. And I go, okay, what is that? They go, well, Ahmed, it's you. I'm like, no. I think, what I think? I think it's the table. I think the table needs to be higher. And so if you're watching on YouTube right now, we have increased the height of the table a little bit.
It's just huge. Look at this. I know.
And you have your computer on the table now.
We're making improvements. We are.
Incrementally as we go.
We are getting there. Yes, we are. So we're going to get this Chris Simms Unbuttoned right eventually.
Yes.
But either way, we're having fun doing that. And we're going to do a little fun today because it's NCAA bracket, which I have yet to fill out my own bracket.
No, you got time.
But we're going to do the football, NFL version of this today.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through the AFC first, 1 through 16. We're going to name our number 1 seed in the AFC.
Right.
And then we're going to go through the NFC, 1 through 16, number 1 seed all the way out, down on through. So it's like a power ranking, but it's NCAA tournament form.
Yep.
So we kind of, and where this is right now, this is not where we think they're going to be day one of the season. This is where they are right now. With the information that we have right now, with what these teams have done in free agency so far, what we think they may do in the draft, if you had to seed them, where would you seed them? That's what we're going to do.
I think that's awesome. I'm ready for it.
Okay, so we're going to have 2 number 1 seeds and 2 number 16 seeds.
And we going to go all through the AFC first?
Let's do the AFC first, and then we'll do the NFC after that. So the number 1 seed in the AFC NCAA tournament.
Stop trying to build it up. We know who this is. Come on, are you crazy? I mean, let's see. Maybe the team that went to 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls? Yes, the New England Patriots are the number 1 seed. And for real tournament talk, they're the number 1 overall seed, too.
Oh, they get the number 1 overall.
They get the number 1 overall.
They're quad 1.
They
quad
are.
1 was
yes,
strong.
but I mean, come on. It's hard to really argue that fact, even though they've lost a few players in free agency and maybe not had any big signings in free agency. I mean, if one thing we have learned through the Belichick era is that New England always finds a way and finds the right pieces to whatever formula they want to create going into a season and how they want to attack. So I'm not doubting New England right now.
Number 1. At some point, they won't be the number 1 team in all of football. Like Tom Brady will be 60 years old and not be able to do it anymore.
At some point, yes, but it's not right now.
That's not right now.
All right, so are you,
the number 16 seed.
I like this, that you got to pick
out of the AFC East.
Right.
I'm going with the Miami Dolphins.
That's pretty easy. I think that was a pretty.
Although they do have Ryan Fitzpatrick. No more Tannehill. He was traded over to the Titans, but they do have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who I do feel is good for 2 games of 400 yards, but then a game of 7 interceptions in the first half.
Well, you don't know where it goes, right? I mean, if I'm Ryan Fitzpatrick has done a lot of good things the last few years in football, certainly. I mean, I think the big thing here just with them and the Dolphins, I'm with you. They're the 32nd team in all of football.
They're the overall.
They were overall
seed.
32. Yes, they are. They are in total rebuild mode, and even the signing of Ryan Fitzpatrick, them getting rid of Ryan Tannehill this weekend. And Fitzpatrick, they find a guy. Fine, he's our starting quarterback until we find something else new. And if we don't, okay, he can at least pull his end of the bargain here for a little while. I just know he's not the face of the future, certainly.
Right.
But it makes sense on why they signed him.
So 1 versus 16, Patriots-Dolphins right away. Yeah, very intriguing. Okay, your number 2 seed in the AFC.
Pretty easy once again.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel here. The Kansas City Chiefs, they're number 2. I mean, without a doubt. I just look at the Kansas City Chiefs, and hey, I know there's no, Eric Berry's gone. Certainly, they lost Mitch Morse on the offensive line. They did sign a Tyrann Mathieu that I like. Hey, they lost Chris Conley, which is very scary at wide receiver.
Right.
Now they're number 2 right now, but let's make sure we justify this, because I know you kind of laid down the groundwork. If they lose Tyreek Hill and Tyreek Hill gets found guilty of these horrible things that are being rumored out there as far as breaking his 3-year-old son's arm, and his name is not on the report as of right now, so I don't want to assume anything.
Yeah,
but
so
if he ends up not playing, oh my gosh, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to drop down a few power ranking points in my book.
So he's facing allegations right now of, as you said, battery against his son. The Kansas City Star is reporting that his 3-year-old son suffered a broken arm. Still don't obviously know all the details there, but if that does come out to be true and there is a suspension, so, I mean, if they don't have Tyreek Hill, they're already without Kareem Hunt after what happened last year, that high-flying offense. I mean, how far do they drop down without the key playmakers that they had from last year?
I mean,
they would peak.
Yeah, they would. I mean, Tyreek Hill's a game changer. I mean, he is the most explosive wide receiver in football.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I said this on with Mike Florio this morning. This is how awesome Tyreek Hill is. Okay. When they played the New England Patriots double covered Tyreek Hill the whole game except for 4 plays. I bet you there's not like 5 players in the last 20 years that New England has done that to, where out of how many snaps it was in the game, whatever it was, 80, 90 snaps, the majority of them, except for 3 or 4 sprinkled in zone coverages, they doubled Tyreek Hill. That's how special and much of a game changer he is.
I mean, you still got to learn the details of that story. Obviously, what's happening off the field trumps anything that's going on the field with the Kansas City Chiefs.
So who they playing?
So I think I did debate this one a little bit, but with the 15 seed out of the AFC North, I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, okay.
No more Marvin Lewis.
Yep.
You can't scapegoat him anymore. And I feel like, you know what? Even though they got Zach Taylor, who knows Sean McVay very, very well,
sure,
which is what got you a coaching job in football this year, right?
Yep.
If you knew him or you coached with him, you got a coaching job.
Yep.
I'm gonna say I feel like maybe Bengals fans are gonna feel like, maybe we had it better than we thought. Maybe you know what, mediocrity every year was better than a 3-13 year.
Well,
every other year.
I'm not going to sit here and spend a whole lot of time on the Bengals. There was nothing groundbreaking they did in free agency.
They still got playmakers on offense, though.
Still got playmakers, yes, no doubt about it. Hey, Mixon at running back is one of the better running backs in football. But the Bengals, I think right now, is just what are they? Who are they? Who are the difference makers they have? What unit is a difference-making unit? And we have questions about the coach. That's why they're a 15 seed. So I totally get that. I'm with you there.
Okay, number 3 seed.
Number 3 seed. All right.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, you don't know quite.
No, I know. I think I know. This is a close one. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers as the number 3 seed.
Wow, that feels a little high to me.
I understand. And again, I'm not going to let free agency take me and to be a prisoner, if I could have said that nice and more elegantly.
You don't want free agency to put you in jail.
I'm not going to make it all about free agency. Hey, the teams that spend a lot of money and sign big-time players in free agency, hey, you look back through history, it doesn't always translate to meaning your team's better right away in year one. I mean, we can look at some of the big free agent signings from last year, and I can go, okay, how did it work out for the Vikings? How about the Jets of Tremaine Johnson? I mean, how about Sammy Watkins with the Chiefs? Oh, that's right. None of them worked out that great. So, just because we get obsessed with the sexiness I'm still putting the Chargers, who had the second best record in the AFC at 12-4. They're a good football team. Yeah, they haven't done anything crazy in free agency to this point, but they don't need to do a whole lot. They're a pretty good football team and well-rounded.
Okay, so 3 seed is the Chargers. I'm going with the 14 seed there, out of the AFC East.
Yep.
Let's do the Bills. I'm going to go with the Bills there. They've been active.
Yes.
You've got 10 free agents signed, 9 on the offensive side of the ball.
Right.
Trying to give some help to Josh Allen. You got John Brown, can stretch the field when healthy. Cole Beasley underneath. One of my all-time favorite players of all time, Frank Gore.
Right.
The ageless wonder.
Yep.
They got there on a 1-year, $2 million deal. So I think the Bills, I could have put them higher, but I think this is a good spot for them, 14 seed.
If I were you, I probably would have gone a little higher, but you're the king of the lower bracket, so we'll let you do that.
So that could be an early upset.
The Bills, to me, I'm not going to say it's an upset, but the Bills are one of those teams I'd say watch out for. Josh Allen has the type of talent to change things around. Hey, I really like what they did on the offensive line. Mitch Morse, Ty Nsekhe, John Brown, Cole Beasley at wide receiver, signed Kevin Johnson at cornerback. The Bills are building their team the right way. They've improved it. That is undeniable. Probably a little low to me at 14, but I understand it. I get it. There's probably one other team that I probably would have put before them at this, and we'll probably get to that here in the next minute or two.
Bills, that could be too low of a seed for them. We'll see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
We will see.
4 seed.
4 seed. I believe Lind.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
I guess.
Yes, in the AFC. I'm doing it. And I know I just talked about not being a prisoner of the moment in free agency. I get it.
Now you're a prisoner.
But I'm a prisoner with this one. First of all, there's a lot of things. It's not just being a prisoner of the moment. The team was trending upwards the last 6 games of the year last year.
For sure.
Offensively, defensively, all of that. But when you add an Odell Beckham Jr. to the offensive side of the football, okay, that is a game changer to an offense that already had huge potential. The running game, the O-line is good. The receivers around Odell Beckham Jr. is good. David Njoku's good. The Baker Mayfield factor. And they're young. I would only expect these players to get better. And we've added Odell Beckham Jr. to the mix, let alone, hey, week 9, Kareem Hunt can come into the equation. That is a subject we could talk about later. And the other thing, too, I'm just going to say this real quick, their defense. Olivier Vernon and Sheldon Richardson on the defensive line is huge. I know they're not superstars, but they're improvements for what they had. And, I'm going early all in here on the Cleveland Browns in the AFC.
Caesars Palace just came out with their odds to win the divisions throughout football for 2019.
Right.
In the AFC North, the favorite to win the AFC North right now, according to Caesars Palace, the Cleveland Browns.
I get it.
The Steelers, the Ravens.
Steelers got a little turmoil. Ravens lost a few players. You're going, what's the development of Lamar Jackson going to be like getting into year 2?
But do you realize what you just said? You just said the Browns are the 4th best team in the AFC.
I know. It's crazy.
Does it make you feel nervous at all putting your neck out there?
I feel, I don't feel nervous about the talent on the field. I think they made the proper decisions with coaching. Freddie Kitchens is the head coach. Steve Wilks coming in as D coordinator. Are you kidding me? I think everything is going in the right direction. Their only thing will be blending personalities and handling the fact that they're young. They're immature as far as football wisdom is concerned.
That's the part, too. And I think we all want the Browns to be interesting and special and better. I wonder if we want that so badly that we're going to overrate them.
Yeah, we might. We definitely might. With extra star power, I mean, I get that. All right, number 5 seed.
So, no, hold on. No, I got to do mine.
You didn't pick your loser yet. I mean, come on, hurry up already.
Here's the 13 seed. And maybe I'm a little more down on this team than other people.
Disclaimer.
I'm going to go with, out of the AFC South, the Jaguars.
Okay.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Right.
They got Nick Foles, obviously. No more Blake Bortles.
Yep.
They lost your guy, Malik Jackson.
Yes, they did.
Eagles, so there's some action on the free agent front. But Nick Foles, super in some big games, right?
Right.
Are we totally convinced that he is going to be an obvious upgrade from Blake Bortles?
Yes, I am totally convinced of that. I do know that.
Throughout a 16-week season.
No doubt about that. I know, and I think with the way I would say, first of all, yes, I don't think it's very hard to upgrade over Blake Bortles, okay?
All right.
So, but my other thing is...
I hope Blake's not a listener.
Yeah, I know. He's not a listener. I think he already is off the Chris Simms bandwagon, okay? But either way... I understand your questions about Nick Foles in a 16-game season. Yeah. I think they're very just. I mean, yes, hey, he started the last year for the Eagles to start the season. It didn't start very smoothly. You know, he had chances in Kansas City to be the starter. It wasn't smooth there. This was the St. Louis Rams before that. So that is the big question with them. Now, as far as I think you have them too low. I definitely do.
Okay.
I mean, this is an all-time defense. I think they're a special defense.
Defense is special.
Right. You know, signed some offensive line help here, got a Chris Conley at receiver, you know, have an offensive line.
So you think they've done enough on offense to put them in the upper echelon or closer to the middle of the pack?
I do. I think so. I think their defense is that special to me. And listen, I think offensively last year, they weren't great. Injuries really hurt them, and they did not have a quarterback that could overcome some of the issues they had once the injuries set in. And I think Nick Foles, if there's guys that do go out for a few weeks here and there, I think he's talented enough to keep the offense at a sustainable, pretty good level to where, hey, they can win football games. And, they might not outscore anybody, but he'll be able to make enough plays to make it happen.
So you think I'm too low maybe on the Bills and Jaguars? Interesting to see.
I do. I think there's potential there.
All right.
But I get it. And all right, so if we go to my number 5 seed,
5 seed. This is the 5-12 matchup. Many upsets in this matchup. Yeah.
The Houston Texans, will be my number 5 in the AFC. And hey, the Houston Texans, they need some help on the offensive line, but the Deshaun Watson factor, of course, on offense with DeAndre Hopkins, the fact that they kept Jadeveon Clowney, made some nice additions in the secondary, getting a Bradley Roby, getting a Tashawn Gibson. I think things like that, I expect the Houston Texans to be about very similar to the team they were last year. A pain in the butt, probably win the AFC South, but they still need to improve their offensive line. That would be my one question mark about them going forward.
According to Caesars, they are currently tied with the Jaguars to finish behind the Colts in the AFC South.
Hey, the AFC South is legit.
They got some, you got the Titans who are not on it either. How much of that ranking was influenced by the fact that you just met DeAndre Hopkins?
No, none. Are
you sure?
No, I'm pretty sure, yes. I'm not a total homer like that. But it was influenced by that combination of Deshaun and DeAndre Hopkins and Lamar Miller being a pretty special runner. And I just think overall, this is still a very quality football team in Houston on both sides of the ball.
So my 12 seed, this one's tough. There's a couple teams that I could go with here. I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Okay.
As my 12 seed.
Yeah.
Which, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I would have probably had them the 15 seed.
Yeah.
Or maybe even the 16 seed.
Right.
But it seems like they're trying to win their final year in Oakland. You got Antonio Brown, you got Tyrell Williams, so you got some new weapons for Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Got Trent Brown. You're trying to upgrade on that offensive line that wasn't very good last year. You hope Colton Miller comes back and has a better second year than his first year.
Exactly.
LaMarcus Joyner, safety. I like that. I think he pairs well with Carl Joseph.
100%. They got J.J. Nelson at receiver too, right? To go with Tyrell Tyrell Williams and Antonio Brown. So they've totally transformed their wide receiver unit, which I really like right off the bat. To give Derek Carr and the Antonio Brown experiment a chance, which, to what you just said there, too, what also gives that chance is signing of a left tackle like Trent Brown, who could now give Derek Carr enough time to throw to those weapons we just talked about. So I'm with you. I think, again, this is a tough one. I think there's a team or two that I probably would have said are 12 worthy more than the Raiders. Yeah. But the Raiders have a lot of unprovenness about them and about their team. I mean, Derek Carr's yet to play in a playoff game still. And that's certainly a big issue. And what was one of the big issues with the Raiders last year? Pass protection. It looks like they improved that, but their defensive line play was not good. Yeah. And they haven't done a whole lot there to improve that yet.
Okay, so 12-5 is the Texans versus the Raiders.
Yep.
Maybe not an upset there if we're too high on the Raiders, but your number 6 seed in the AFC.
My number 6 seed is the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
I'm going to put the Baltimore Ravens as the number 6 seed.
They've lost a lot.
They have lost a lot. Now, I'm not going to go crazy about losing Eric Weddle. I mean, they've replaced that with Earl Thomas. They went out on that swap. Hey, losing Zadarius Smith, certainly not an easy loss, but they have other guys like Tyus Bowser who play that position, who were second-round picks just from a few years ago, who are ready to fill in. So, yes, C.J. Mosley, irreplaceable. I mean, certainly in the discussion for one of the best middle linebackers in football. But I still think offensive line is awesome. They still need a few weapons around Lamar Jackson, certainly, but getting Mark Ingram at running back, and I think Lamar Jackson will get better. I still think this is one of the more quality teams in the AFC in general.
Okay, all right.
But I hear you. They're concerned with some of their losses.
So I've got the number 11 seed.
Yeah.
And the number 11 seed, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos.
Yes, there we go.
The AFC West last year.
There we go.
Vic Fangio, the new man in charge, the new head man, who I covered a little bit in San Francisco when he was the defensive coordinator for those really, really good teams for the 49ers. I mean, one of the best defensive coordinators that we've had in football for a long time.
No question.
Never got the shot to be the main man. So right. I think he'll have the respect of the locker room. I think a lot of people will like Vic Fangio, but will they have a good enough team? Signed a couple of cornerbacks.
Right.
Bryce Callahan, Kareem Jackson. I think that was an upgrade there.
Great
signings. James, they signed him as well.
Right.
Joe Flacco, though, that's the question. John Elway did say that he does believe that Joe Flacco is entering the prime of his career. And at 34 years old, that makes me question John Elway. And if he's okay.
Yeah, well, that's not the proper statement. They're saying that prime of his career. Maybe at the tail end of his prime, starting the downslope.
Maybe he can still have a good year.
He's on the back 9 of his career.
Yeah.
Okay, certainly. He's an upgrade at the quarterback position. I'm going to say that much. He's better than Case Keenum. He's going to give that team belief and confidence that they can win in big games, because Joe Flacco has delivered that way many times to the Baltimore Ravens. Hey, you mentioned some of the things they did on the defensive side of the ball. Jawan James at tackle. Certainly, I think they overpaid for him maybe a little bit, but certainly it was an area of need. And the big thing is, you said Fangio, and this is the other one. This is one of the free agent signings of the offseason. He's not even a player. Mike Munchak, offensive line coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the best offensive line coaches in all of football. Him going out there as well with Rick Scangrello from the San Francisco 49ers to run the Shanahan offense. I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I would have ranked them ahead of the Jaguars.
Or the Bills?
Or it would have been close. I think the Jaguars, I clearly would have made 11 here. But the Broncos, Raiders, Bills, I understand you're thinking there. I think it's very close. And it's kind of the beauty in the eye of the beholder.
I know, and it's tough. You
know?
Yeah,
but you did a good job. Way to go, man. Way to contribute to the show. I'm proud of you.
It might be the first time. It might be the first time.
I'm proud of you.
All right, the number 7 seed. We're getting to the 7-10 matchup.
Yeah, dearest mother, Andrew Luck has come to town. I got to go with the Colts there. Wow, yes, the Colts, again, nothing sexy so far in free agency. Re-signed a guy like Marcus Hunt, who was huge to their football team. Am I saying that? Yes, it's Marcus Hunt. I almost got my players mixed up there. But they didn't need a whole lot on that team.
To do a bunch. When you have Andrew Luck and a healthy Andrew Luck, you
and
feel
then one of the best offensive lines in football, if not the best. They got a Devin Funchess on the offensive side of the ball just to have a big target to throw jump balls, back shoulder balls. But, hey, again, this is Chris Ballard. He has a plan of attack, and I still think this team is just growing. It's young talent that's kind of just going to grow right in front of us. So I put them at number 7.
Okay, so they're number 7. You might actually be low on them a little bit.
I might be. I struggle
between
to win the
AFC South.
Between them, the Texans, and, of course, the Baltimore Ravens. That was certainly a little bit of a toss-up there.
My number 10 seed will be the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
I'm going with the Tennessee Titans as the number 10 seed. They added that edge rusher in Cameron Wake.
Yes.
They got Roger Saffold to try to shore up the offensive line.
That was a really good signing by them.
You have Adam Humphries at wide receiver, given Marcus Mariota.
Phenomenal signing.
You like that one?
I think for the slot receiver type, Adam Humphries. I know New England really wanted him, and they were in that conversation with him. He's that kind of guy. He's a Julian Edelman-ish type of talent in the middle. Not going to fly by you for 70 yards, but all those underneath routes, he's very special. Yeah, you talked about Saffold. He's a really good guard.
Got Tannehill. Backup for Marcus. Do you buy the reports and rumors out there that maybe they're looking at him to battle Marcus at all for that starting gig?
I would argue that he's every bit as good as Marcus Mariota, if not better. And it makes sense from just a scheme fit, okay? Just from the fact of, hey, Marcus Mariota goes down, Ryan Tannehill could come in, you could still run read options, bootlegs, do all the movement things that Mariota did. So I'm all for that. Yes, okay.
Although cool on the current depth chart, they have no third-string quarterback, which worries me because that person may be starting week 3.
Well, seriously,
because they do have injury. They do have injury histories.
No doubt about that.
Okay. So now you get to dictate my last pick because you get the 8 pick, and then I'll have to take the remaining team with a 9 pick.
Yep. Okay. Well, my 8 pick is the Steelers.
Okay.
Which is, I actually couldn't even believe I had them here. I guess this is what the offseason.
Wait, you're the ones that what do you mean? You thought they should be higher? You picked the 1 through 7.
I know. I'm saying I struggled with it in my own life. Yeah, I'm making the Steelers number 8 right now, just I guess because of the unknown and how the offensive formula will work on that side of the ball. James Conner's good. Again, he's not Le'Veon Bell. Couldn't stay healthy through his first full year as a starting running back. Ben Roethlisberger, full offseason here of criticism that he's going to get. No Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster. How's he going to fit as being the true number 1 marked man, right? James Washington, he wasn't very impressive last year as a rookie, their second-round pick out of Oklahoma State. So I think there's questions about the receiving corps, like some of the things they did on the defensive side of the ball. I'm blanking out on the corner they signed, Steven Nelson from the Kansas City Chiefs. That was a nice addition, certainly. I expect Pittsburgh to be in the playoff conversation. I really do.
Yeah.
The AFC, you can see it's top-heavy. There's some good football teams here. And it's competitive, and I just don't know what to say about them as of right now.
So that means the Steelers' first-round opponent would be Le'Veon Bell and the New York Jets. Does that seem high? I mean, we're 8-9 matchup for the Jets. I mean, they've added Lev Bell. You got Jamison Crowder. You got C.J. Mosley, you got Kelechi Osemele on the offensive line from the Raiders, and then you got Greg Williams as your defensive coordinator, who turned down 10 head coaching gigs to take that job as defensive coordinator.
You're funny. No, it does. I think the Jets are one of those teams that are not as far off as maybe the public realizes. Okay, and then what they did on the offensive side, I mean, they've had one of the better free agencies so far to this point. Getting C.J. Mosley, signing Kelechi Osemele, Le'Veon Bell, of course, Jamison Crowder is a slot receiver. I think that was a huge move for them. So, no, I'm with you.
Darnold's got to take a step.
I would have had the Jets number. So the two teams, when I did my power rankings, just to let you know, the teams I had in front of the Jets in the AFC, the Steelers, the Jaguars, and I had the Titans in front of them. So those 3 I had in front of them.
Okay.
But it's debatable.
So you would have had the Jets lower.
A little lower.
Let's take a look at our bracket over there. So at the bottom of the rankings, you would maybe have the Bills a little higher, the Jaguars. Bills we have as a 14 seed. Jaguars as a 13 seed.
Right.
You'd have them a little higher. You'd have the Jets down a little farther. But you can see the promise in the Jets, though.
I can see the promise in the Jets. Yeah. The Jets are a team on the rise. Getting Adam Gase, I think that's worth a win or two in itself. Greg Williams in the defensive side of the ball, I like that. Sam Darnold's growth, Le'Veon Bell around him. I think there's a lot of things to be positive about in the New York Jets.
I think we have some breaking news on the Bengals.
Are you serious?
Peter, producer, just getting my ear.
What'd they do?
I don't know.
Did they trade up to get a...
Burfict has been released.
Oh, they're done with the Vontaze Burfict experiment.
I will hold them at 15 in our seeding. That does not change my seeding.
No, it does not. They're still better than the Dolphins.
Still better than the Dolphins.
We'll give them that.
If they cut A.J. Green, I would still hold them at 15. I still think they're better than the Dolphins.
I think I agree with you. You're right.
It would take a lot. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Cool. So
AFC done.
So we're gonna put that on
please,
Twitter. You guys can take a look
I'm interested
there.
to see what the public thinks about our little bracket
who we're
there.
too high on, who we're too low on.
Right.
And this is just the information that we have right now. This is all what we have right now, and so we'd love to go through it too and pick the winners through it. Should we do that on our podcast, Pete? Should we pick the winners? Okay, we're not going to do. They don't want us to do that.
They don't want us to do that?
Maybe we'll do that Wednesday. You know.
I'm like disappointed in our 4-13 matchup because the Jaguars have been those teams that would have an upset happen.
Yeah.
But now it's against the Browns, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. So yeah, it's all right. Good job messing that part up. Thanks.
All right, so there's the AFC done in the books, and let's move over to the NFC. And I feel like I don't know. It's going to be interesting to kind of have a talk about the power of the conferences as they sit right now, because I think there are a lot of interesting, promising teams in the AFC, and I don't know if we're going to have that for the NFC, but it might be top-heavy at the NFC, and the bottom teams are more of like cellar dwellers.
I feel like that in the NFC, yes. There's definitely an upper class, that's for sure.
Okay.
Starts off.
Let's do it.
My number 1 seed, this might get some people, okay? Mm-hmm. The Chicago Bears are the team I'm making the number 1 seed right now in the NFC.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It was close. And it was close between them and the Rams, just so everybody else out there knows that. It wasn't the Saints. It was the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears, when you evaluate their roster, there's no weak spot. I mean, everything is above average, better than average. I think Mitchell Trubisky in year 2 and the Nagy offense is going to be better. You sign guys like Cordero Patterson who fit your scheme of these receivers who can play running back and speed sweeps and kick return and go deep over the top. I like their Buster Screen signing. Who was the safety they got? I'm going to have to pull that up because I'm blanking. I can't pull up every name in my... Ha Clinton Dix to get him at safety to replace Adrian Amos. I think that was a nice fill-in spot. You know, to really go through this process, and really the only marquee player they lost is Adrian Amos for a team that, I mean, was very close to being the number 2 seed in the NFC playoffs last year. Yeah, I just think everything is on the up and up in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, they're solid offensively, defensively. Kicking game, not as much.
Yep.
You got to figure that out. You got to figure that out. But, I mean, they'll figure that out, right?
Yes, they I would think so. I mean, it can only get better.
So the number 16 seed who has to face the Bears in that first-round matchup, I'm going with, out of the NFC East, the New York Giants. I'm going with them as the bottom seed in the NFC.
Okay.
You lost Odell, obviously. It seems like they're trying to make one final run with Eli, and I don't know how prudent that is.
Right.
And the GM is basically, Dave Gettleman, taking a lot of criticism for how they handled the Odell trade, has come out and said, well, what they want to do is they want to run the ball more and feature Saquon Barkley more, which is, I feel like, a good thought. But by coming out and saying that, I feel like now you're going to face, 14 men in the box, and that's going to be an issue for the Giants offensively.
I think that's a fair point. Or what's going to back them off? What's going to back the safeties getting close to the line of scrimmage? It's not going to be Eli Manning's and his aggressive mindset or his big arm. So, the Giants, to me, the only move they've made so far that I go, that was a good move, was Kevin Zeitler. Trading Olivier Vernon for Kevin Zeitler, who's still a really good guard in the NFL, one of the better guards in football. They get him. That, of course, helps a Saquon Barkley, helps protection with Eli Manning. But Golden Tate thought they overpaid for him a little bit, was not impressed with what he looked like in Philadelphia last year. Okay, you lose Landon Collins, you bring in Antoine Bethea. That's a drop-off. Okay, they signed Marcus Golden, who James Betcher, the D coordinator, was with in Arizona before this. He's a year and a half off an ACL injury, so he's kind of we hope he turns out to be the guy he was before he got hurt type of signing.
Yeah.
And then the big... Jabril Peppers is the other guy.
I'll be rooting for him as a Michigan fan.
I understand that. I root for Jabril Peppers, too, because I watched him play in New Jersey high school football. But it's not been pretty his first few years in Cleveland as a defensive safety. And I think that's where, I'm not as high on the Giants either there because, I don't know about that player yet. I mean, they took him out. When they were in passing situations in Cleveland, they took him off the field. Yeah. And that's not usually a ringing endorsement for a safety. So
Giants,
those are my issues.
They just seem caught in the middle.
They are right now.
Are they doing a full rebuild? Or are they trying to do a little bit of both?
Yes.
And I don't know that they have a coherent plan.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure either. Okay, number 2 seed. Here we go. My number 2 seed, the Los Angeles Rams.
Go Rams.
The defending NFC champions. Yes, I got to go with them. The Rams, It hasn't been anything big through free agency, certainly to what they added to their team. I think the biggest signing you've seen to this point is Eric Weddle. The fact that they re-signed Dante Fowler, that was nice. I think he really contributed to the team. But they're losing Ndamukong Suh. There is no Mark Barron, right? You just talked about Roger Saffold going to the Tennessee Titans, right? So they're a team that certainly still really good. I expect them to be the cream of the crop of the NFC. But I think compared to where they were last year and repeating a Super Bowl run and all of those things, taking into a factor and where we are right here in March, yeah, I put the Bears just a little bit ahead of the Rams.
So Bears ahead of the Rams, still no Saints in your top three. So Bears the Rams number 2 seed.
Yes.
I'm going with, for my 15 seed out of the NFC West, the Cardinals.
Yeah,
3-13 last year. You got a new coach. You still got David Johnson. Maybe you can get him going.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have Kyler Murray as your quarterback.
Right.
You do have Larry Fitzgerald that didn't want to retire because he wanted to go out on top, or at least better than what they did last year. So maybe Larry, who I like a whole lot, can, by his own, volition, just carry that team to a few more victories, but I'm not real optimistic. I got them as the 15 seed, and I'm curious, would you have had them below the Giants?
I would. I would have gone them 16, Giants 15, but I'm not mad at you either way. I mean, I'm really not. This is definitely the bottom of the NFC as far as I'm concerned. Just so many holes on this roster. They haven't really done anything to this point to really improve the team. Jordan Hicks at middle linebacker would probably be.
Signing,
he was a great signing, no doubt about it. But they're trying out guys like Terrell Suggs, who I think this is a 1 year, I'm coming home back to Arizona type of thing. Kevin White is a guy who, didn't live up to his top 10 being picked by the Chicago Bears. They signed him at receiver. So no organizational changing type moves yet, at least not yet until they draft Kyler Murray coming up in the draft.
Yep. So Cardinals, the 15th seed, taking on the Rams in the first round of our NCAA NFC bracket. Number 3 seed.
Number 3
seed. I think I know, right?
Yeah.
Saints. Got it.
Nope, absolutely not. Philadelphia Eagles.
Wow.
Ooh, you weren't expecting that.
I was not. No.
How about them apples?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Philadelphia. First of all, Philadelphia is an extremely talented football team. We saw that with the way they rebounded last year. I really think one of the most impressive things we saw in all of football last year was a Super Bowl defending champion team falling apart at the midway point of the year. Quarterback gets hurt and banged up, and they rebound to make this unbelievable playoff run and are driving to go ahead on the game-winning score with a throw to Alshon Jeffrey from Nick Foles that goes through his hands and gets intercepted. And who knows what we're talking about. We might have been talking about Patriots-Eagles part 2.
Yeah.
I mean, the way they were playing. But they still have a phenomenal offensive line. They still have a phenomenal defensive line. You mentioned the Malik Jackson going there instead of Michael Bennett, all of that. Deshaun Jackson on the offensive side of the ball, re-signing Brandon Graham at defensive end and getting Ronald Darby back to solidify their secondary. Yes, I think the Eagles are still one of the best teams in the NFC. The best Eagle, and I know Carson Wentz is better than Nick Foles. I understand Nick Foles had these great playoff runs. The best Philadelphia Eagle team I ever saw was the 2017 Philadelphia Eagles before Carson Wentz get hurt. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Nick Foles, but when they were going into Los Angeles and Carson Wentz tore his ACL out there, I was going, oh my gosh, this guy is John Elway. Howie Long said it at halftime. He was the MVP of football, and their team was literally steamrolling everybody in the NFL at that point. I think they can get close to that level once again.
Caesars does not believe with you. They have the Cowboys as the favorite to win the NFC East right now. Although you can't always read too much into that because the Cowboys get so much money on them every year. I mean, there's so many Cowboy fans out there that just bet on the Cowboys that they have to
sway the odds.
They do. Right. They have to reduce the odds. So maybe you're not too far off with that one. Oh, a lot of love for the Eagles. Okay, my next seed, so that would be the 14 seed.
So you're going to 14, right?
14 seed.
What you got there?
It'll be an all NFC
buster.
East matchup in the first round. It'll be Washington.
Okay.
I'll go with Washington as my number 14 seed. They did add Landon Collins, their big free agent signing. Maybe paid a little too much money for him, but that's okay. They got a still solid player, even though you've jumped off the bandwagon. There's some stuff he can do well.
No doubt. No doubt. It's improvement
issues
for sure.
Quarterback issues. They do have Case Keenum. Might not be done there. Jay Gruden and Doug Williams have said that they're taking a quarterback high in the draft, not off the table. They brought back Adrian Peterson, who just turned 42. No, he's 33. I hope he keeps playing until he's like 42.
I mean, he's unbelievable.
You remember like Julio Franco in baseball?
Yeah.
Remember that guy?
Right. He played like he was like 47.
He was 48. He was
That's
48.
Insane. That's insane.
I hope Adrian plays until he's 48.
Yeah.
Like not great, but he's just out there on the field.
No, I get you. I think the Redskins are one of these teams that, again, I'm agree with you. I probably would have had them right around this range too, maybe 13, whatever, being nitpicky.
Yeah.
But regardless, there are some things I like. But the quarterback situation, we got to see how that plays out. There's not a lot of people to be scared about at the wide receiver position. They lost Jamison Crowder. I'd argued he was their best target. Jordan Reed, he's always injured, so I worry about that. Ladarius Geis, their second-round running back from last year, we're going to see where he's at. He tore his ACL in the preseason, so there's just a lot of question marks. Darius Geis, I said Ladarius, sorry. Darius Geis, so that's a little bit of a question mark, but I'm with you. I think that's a good 3-14 matchup. I had the Eagles, right? I got to write that down. All right, here we go.
The Eagles, yeah. You've gone Bears, 1 seed, Rams, 2 seed, Philly, 3 seed, and your 4 seed has to be the Saints.
Yes, it does. The Saints are the 4 seed here. Hey, the Saints are still, I think this is what concerns me about the Saints. They're still awesome. Of course, losing Max Unger at center is a big deal. But that was huge that Nick Easton committed to them on Sunday. Nick Easton, a free agent signing for the Minnesota Vikings, who could play center and guard. I think that really saves them there. You know, offensively, I don't have much to say about the football team. I think where I worry more about anything is just the defense. You know, one, Marcus Davenport, you know, he's got to show up this year. He was their first-round pick from last year. But, hey, guys like, you know, Sheldon Rankins aren't going to be there early in the year because he tore his Achilles tendon. You know, you look at David Omanyata. He might have some issues with the NFL. They got some other guys that might be in trouble or not be able to play early on in the NFL season on the defensive line. Plus, yes, I just think Drew Brees, a year older, that concerns me a little bit. It's been 2 great runs by them that have kind of ended in a kind of a letdown type of way. And I guess what I'm expecting is a little bit of a letdown from the Saints. Still a playoff team. I just don't know if they're going to be the top team in the NFC like I've had them the last 2 years.
Drew Brees a year older worries you. Tom Brady a year older doesn't worry you. I mean, they're different level quarterbacks, but both elite quarterbacks.
Yes, right. And Tom Brady's not the guy he was at one point either. But no, Tom Brady, you know, he hasn't lost his fastball. It might not be 105 miles per hour.
Do you think Brees has?
I do think Brees has, yes. I think Brees is, and I think we saw that down the stretch during the season. Teams were not worried about Drew Brees throwing the ball over the top of them. They were sitting on all the short routes, Sean Payton game design routes to just dissect you that way. In fact, when they wanted to go deep, the last 2 times I saw them try to go deep, Taysom Hill threw the football. I think that says a lot to you about just where Drew Brees is. And, yeah, I would expect this year maybe to be Drew Brees' last. If not, it'll be the year after for sure. But it's coming to an end.
So my number 13 seed to face the Saints in the first round of our NFC NCAA tournament is Panthers. I'm going to go with the Panthers.
Okay.
There. I feel like, I mean, they haven't been in the news that much. I feel like they're a little under the radar right now, Panthers. But I don't know. I probably, maybe I'm a little lower on them than other people.
I don't think it's crazy. I mean,
But I got Panthers as my number 13 seed. It seems like they're never quite that low. You know, they're always in the mix.
Yes.
You know, they're a runaway, but they had a pretty rough stretch at the end of last year.
Rough stretch at the end of the last year. I guess what I would tell you is just not forget that Cam Newton had a bum shoulder and he was playing with, you know, he's playing with an arm that he couldn't throw the ball over 20 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Panthers are one of those teams I'm not sure about either. I don't know. Who's the difference maker on their front 7 other than Luke Kuechly? They need to get some guys on the defensive front who can make some plays. There's a lot of things I like about the Carolina Panthers. I guess lack of playmakers are what concern me with them more than anything. On the offensive side of the ball, I know McCaffrey's there. DJ Moore, I'm excited about him. But overall, yeah, Carolina's made no big splashes in free agency to this point. They re-signed their Darrell Williams as far as the tackle position. And I know they got one other offensive lineman that I got to pull up. Again, I'm trying to pull all these things. Yeah, Matt Paradis at center. He's one of the better centers in football. That was a big-time signing to help protect Cam Newton and open up some holes for McCaffrey.
Yeah. So I mean, it's still incomplete, right? We're trying to seed these teams right with what we know right now.
No doubt.
They're going to make some improvements as the offseason goes on and the draft goes on, but that's just, I mean, not a whole lot to go on. Yeah, a healthier Cam Newton certainly helps, but Got the Panthers at the 13 seed. Your number 5 seed.
My number 5 seed, I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys here. Okay, Dallas is the team that, again, I did not need a whole lot in free agency. If they kept their team status quo, I would have just gone, that's pretty good. It's a pretty talented roster. The biggest thing with the Dallas Cowboys, more times than not, is just been the offensive creativity. That's what they need to improve in Dallas more than anything. It's not necessarily the players on the field. I know they'll improve through the draft. But, hey, the big thing with them was they got DeMarcus Lawrence back on the squad. He's the best defensive player coming off the edge. He's their number 1 sack artist they got. Hey, adding a Jason Witten, sure, adds a little value. Tavon Austin, he's back there with the team overall. But I think this is a Dallas team that is on the rise and just has to find more ways to make life easy on Dak Prescott in the pass game, and they can be right back in the thick of things in the NFC.
You believe in Dak? You think with the proper weapons, Dak Prescott is the guy?
I did, and I did not believe in Dak probably through the first 6 or 7 weeks last year. But the one thing I'll say about Dak, this is where I go, the grass is not always greener if you're a Cowboys fan. He's big, he's tough, he shows great leadership skills. He's everything you want as a leader on and off the field, is just being the face of your franchise.
Yeah.
And I think that goes a long way. And, of course, he can make all the throws and run and make plays off schedule that way. So, yes, I look at it right now as you got your franchise quarterback. He's a good guy to give money and be the leader of the offensive side of the ball.
I'm going to go with the 12 seed.
Yeah.
Often the upset matchup, 5-12. I'm going to go Bucs.
Okay.
I'm going to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got Bruce Arians, who I'm going to be rooting for him.
Yep, I am too.
Love Bruce Arians and what he can do. What can he do with Jameis Winston? You got Brashad Perryman now as a wide receiver. You got some big playability. You did trade away Deshaun Jackson. You lost those 2 400-yard games in Ryan Fitzpatrick that are guaranteed.
Oh, no.
But I believe in Bruce Arians. I'm going to put him 12.
Yeah, okay. I think there's a lot of things that I like about the Tampa Bay roster in general, too. Yeah, free agency, there's been nothing there to blow you out of the water. The big thing was they re-signed their left tackle, Donovan Smith. They got a Shaquille Barrett who will fit what Todd Bowles wants to do on the defensive side of the ball, which is a little more 3-4-ish. Shaquille Barrett could be the outside linebacker, D-end. I think that's a good value signing. But the Bucs are one of those teams where they're a little more talented than I think the public give them credit for. And with a good defensive coordinator where they had issues there the last few years, and Bruce Arians infusing a few new ideas and a new energy on the offensive side of the ball, I would say watch out for Tampa. They certainly can make some moves. They got enough talent on that team to surprise some people.
Yeah, you need the guys that were already on the team to make a step
yes,
forward,
right?
But exactly I believe that Bruce Arians can get that
out of it.
At least offensively.
I get you there.
On that side of the ball.
I'm with you.
So the number 6 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, number 6 seed is I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
The Seahawks, again, another team where I would just go, didn't need a whole lot. Their team is really in a good spot. I think their big thing is them getting DJ Fluker back on their offensive line. I think that's great. Of course, he's still a big hulking presence at the guard position, gives them depth, protects Russell Wilson. They want to run the football. That's what Seattle does. Getting Frank Clark back as a franchise tag, just like Dallas with DeMarcus Lawrence. He's their best defensive player. You got to have him. KJ Wright, the middle linebacker position, having him back also really nice because he still can play all 3 downs, can cover people, do all that. But the Seahawks are one of those teams that, again, it might not be a lot of sexy names out there, but their roster is quality. And I think a lot of these guys will become more household names as we see the Seahawks back in the playoffs again. And we start to learn who these guys are that have replaced Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman and so on. The guys that we kind of, grew up with the Seahawks being
100%.
stars.
And I give them a lot of credit for that, too, because they really, you don't often see that. You often see the core and a great core that they had, took them to Super Bowls, and it ages, and then there's a tough transition period, and then you struggle for a few years. I mean, they've done a really good job. Obviously, the Patriots seem to do it every year.
Yeah,
they've done a really good job of changing over the core and the identity. I mean, those guys were the identity of the team with Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor. And they were the identity, and they've been able to replace them and now still be one of the better teams in the NFC.
No, I think they've done it the right way, too. And they knew what they were doing, obviously. They weren't afraid to let the Richard Shermans, the Michael Bennett's walk out the door because they knew they had some young guys that the public didn't know about it. Carroll and Schneider, phenomenal evaluators of talent. I never really doubt them.
With the 11 seed, I'm going to go with the face of Seahawks in the first round, my hometown team, The Detroit Lions.
Okay.
Who some people may think that's a little high. Should have been below a couple of other teams, but they've been active. Matt Patricia bringing basically his friends. He's bringing all his friends over. Trey Flowers, Danny Amendola, Justin Coleman.
All his ex-buddies.
All his ex-buddies. We need help over here in Detroit.
And even Jesse James. Remember, he dropped the ball going over the goal line in Pittsburgh to help New England win?
Yeah.
He's like, you're my buddy.
You were on our team for that play, basically.
Right.
And in Matt Stafford, we trust. I've always thought that. Kenny Golladay took a huge step forward last year.
Yep.
Kerryon Johnson, I feel like they finally found a running back they can. So, I mean, now that I'm talking about my Detroit Lions, maybe I should have put them even higher. But I believe in the Patriots West.
I do too. I think they're going in the right direction. Matt Stafford had the worst year of his career last year. And was he in culture shock? Yes, he was. I mean, he was asked to play a different way that he had never been asked to play that way his whole career to that point. But again, I would like to sit here and remind everybody, since 2011, Drew Brees only has one more playoff appearance than Matthew Stafford. He is grossly disrespected at the quarterback position. And I understand people not loving him last year, but damn, he carried the damn team all the years before that with nobody around him, ever. I know he had Calvin Johnson a little bit there for a run, but even during that period,
they've had no running game.
No running
his
game.
Whole career with Detroit.
I mean, epic no running game. History no running game.
Yeah.
Like one of the worst running games we've seen. No pass protection. No great defense to go along with it either. It's a team sport. I mean, so yes, I get sick of defending Matthew Stafford at times, but I do think that their new way of running, playing defense, managing the game, I think he's going to make that adjustment, and they're going to be a better team.
Would you have had him higher, or do you think this is about
No,
right
I think
for
that
them?
was very fair.
Okay.
I think I would have had him right in that range there.
Okay.
All right, number 14.
Number 7 seed.
Sorry. I just gave away where they are in my total power ranking.
Oh, midway through. Okay, interesting.
But I'm going, Aaron Rodgers.
Which
you're still the greatest quarterback I've ever seen.
Until you get a few more years of watching
forever and ever.
Packers is your number 7 seed, which is probably, even though you're giving all those compliments to Aaron Rodgers, might be the lowest you have had an Aaron Rodgers quarterback team for a while.
Yes, it is. But it's the first year I actually feel confident, though, that he might not have to carry the whole damn team by himself. And, hey, the other thing we got to take into account, and I think we've discussed, the NFC and the NFC North, it's pretty damn good.
It's stacked.
It is. It's stacked. And I know we haven't even got to one of the other teams yet, but I just look at the Green Bay Packers. Of course, there's the Aaron Rodgers factor on the offensive side of the ball. There's no other way to deny it. I mean, come on. As long as number 12 is a quarterback, you got to believe that their offense can make it happen when they need to. Hey, he almost made it happen last year. And I know a lot of people are going, they were 6-10. Well, yeah, let's go through a few scenarios. He was red hot in the New England game. It was like, watch out. Here comes Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Jones fumbles as they're driving to take the go-ahead score. He's red hot in the Rams game, and Ty Montgomery takes it out of the end zone and fumbles the kickoff when they're going to have a chance to go down and have the game-winning score. He's red hot in the Seattle Seahawks game, and Mike McCarthy decided to punt it on 4th and 1. So he wasn't given the chances to take over a few of those games like we had seen in years past that got them over the hump from being 6-10 to now 9-7, and we go, watch out. But I do think
ultimately Aaron Rodgers' fault for not playing multiple positions and coaching the team.
Exactly. It's all on
Aaron. He should have done all of that.
I mean, how dare he? Should have called the offense too, apparently. But I mean, Zadarius Smith, Adrian Amos, Preston Smith on the defensive side of the ball, they had one of the sneaky good free agent runs here. Those are 3 quality starters that are going to help out that Mike Pettin defense big time.
All right, so you got the Packers.
Yeah.
Interesting. You're right.
Billy Turn on O-line, that was nice. Mercedes Lewis at tight end. I'm filibustering for you. No worries. You figure it out.
I'm going to go with, as my number 10 seed.
Yes.
As the Falcons.
Okay.
The Falcons right there.
Okay.
I don't know. Just, they haven't done a whole lot.
I like
a whole lot of headline moves, but you got Matt Ryan, and you got a team that seems to be in the mix every year. I'm going with Falcons.
Yeah, okay. No, I don't think there's any problem with that. This is the food for thought I would leave you with. Again, don't forget that they were injured last year severely. I would argue that they might have been the most injured team in all of football. So I think their defense could get back to being one of the special units we saw the year they went to the Super Bowl, even the year after.
If I didn't take them with the 10 seed there, would you have considered them with the 8 seed? Coming up, your last.
Yeah, it would have been close. I'll even give you a little. Let's see where I would have been there. Yeah, it was them or another team. You can see right here. I got a little bunch there of three NFC teams right in the middle.
Yeah, where their value is.
I totally feel you. But yes, they've done nothing great in free agency. Grady Jarrett was the big thing. They had to make sure they get him back. They franchise him. Hopefully they'll get a long-term deal done. But that was the one key area they have to make happen on their team. He was their best player on their front seven, him or Deion Jones the last few years, certainly their best D lineman, so they got to make sure he stays in town. And they added a little offensive line help for Matty Ryan, which they needed too.
All right, the final matchup in the NFC.
The final countdown.
The team that you were just talking about, which is which team? In number 8 seed.
The Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings.
Yep, I'm going to go with the Vikings here.
Which is why we're talking about the NFC North being pretty stacked, because there you got your third best team in the NFC North is an 8 seed in the upper echelon.
No doubt. I mean, Minnesota, there's a lot. I mean, first of all, we know the Minnesota Vikings defense is legit. I don't think there's any discussion there. Okay, so they're a team that I didn't expect them to make a lot of moves. The one area I'm still concerned with the Minnesota Vikings is still the interior part of their offensive line. That was an issue for them last year. Nick Easton leaves, like we just talked about, to go to the New Orleans Saints. That was the difference between why the Vikings were in the NFC Championship game in 2017 and not in 2018. It was the interior O-line. You can really just peg it to that. That's really the only thing there is to it. The defense was still awesome. They're still great at all three levels. Defensive line's great.
Quarterback play, you okay with there?
What's that?
Quarterback play?
Quarterback play, I'm okay with. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and blame the quarterback when the year before they were the number 6 rushing team in football, and then he gets to come over and they become the 29th ranked team in football, or somewhere close to that. I might be off a rank or two on either one there. But either way, that was a huge part of their problems. So, yeah, pass protection, not being able to run the football made them, it had to be Diggs, Thielen, and Cousins making magic happen.
Right.
Dalvin Cook 2 years after his injury, we saw him come on at the end of the year last year. I think he has a chance to be a special football player. I still respect the Vikings. I just know teams around them have gotten better.
What if in a week, though, Anthony Barr changes his mind again and goes back to the Jets? So where would you drop them if he changes his mind again? What would you do with
it? It wouldn't affect me. It wouldn't affect a whole lot, but that duo is special. Kendricks and Barr, and you can see the way Mike Zimmer talked about him this week, about when they got to re-sign him, how special and such a high regard he holds Anthony Barr in.
So that means that I've got the final team here, the San Francisco 49ers as the number 9.
Kyle Shanahan.
Which I feel like there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about this team. I mean, now you added some more offensive weapons with Tevin Coleman. You got Dee Ford, who had a 13-sack year last year with the Chiefs. You're going to probably select Nick Bosa with your number 2 overall pick.
Can do whatever they want with the number 2 pick.
So that's a lot of, you get Jimmy Garoppolo back healthy. So I think there's a lot of reasons why the 49ers would move all the way up this list. But this is also a team that did have the number 2 overall pick, or does have the number 2 overall pick this year. And so that's a pretty big, significant rise up the rankings for a team that was hurt, didn't have their quarterback, but just was not very good overall last year.
No, I mean, I think 3 players, could have made this team from, the number 2 team in the draft to, let's say they became a 7-9 or 6-10 team and had a middle pick in the draft.
You think they were that close?
Well, I think if their quarterback doesn't get hurt, if Jerick McKinnon doesn't get hurt, if somebody like Reuben Foster doesn't have another, mishap in the Tampa Bay hotel room, I think those things led to, some issues with their team, let alone some other injuries along with it. But I think, San Francisco is one of those teams, if Jimmy Ward could stay healthy, if McKinnon does stay healthy with Tevin Coleman, there's weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Nobody's better at getting receivers open for big plays down the field than Kyle Shanahan with what he has with George Kittle. I think the Dee Ford move is awesome, whether they want to pair him with Nick Bosa like you're saying, or now they can go, we got a great trade offer for number 2. Well, we got our pass rusher in Dee Ford, so we can trade down and maybe get 3 other picks to fill in other roster needs we have. So I really liked what they did to this point, even taking a flyer on Jason Verrett from the Los Angeles Chargers. He was a first-round pick, super talented, hasn't been able to stay healthy. I like that move as well. And then Quan Alexander. They got Reuben Foster back. He's that same type of player. Middle linebacker. Kyle Shanahan used to call Reuben Foster the water boy because he would just run around and crash into people. Quan Alexander's not far off. I mean, they
paid a lot of money for him.
They paid a lot of money. For a guy coming off an ACL injury, maybe a little too much money, but this is a Seattle defense, and they got to run the Seattle scheme is what they do, and they needed their Bobby Wagner, and that's important. That's why they drafted Reuben Foster the first time around, and they knew they were missing that. That's why they went up and got Quan Alexander. They got their Cliff Averill and D Ford because those are just huge parts or pieces that you need to make that scheme successful, and I think it makes sense.
And we were talking about this before the show, too, on the teams that make the big jump, the teams that, you look at, do the free agents matter? Does it matter which team has the best offseason? Does it translate into the regular season? And a lot of times it's the team that has the abundance of free agents or abundance of acquisitions where if you don't hit on all of them, you're going to hit on some of them.
Right.
And if you hit on most of them, then you really do make that jump.
No doubt. The Chicago Bears, they're a team that would jump out to me that did that last year. Signed a whole bunch of people on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. It really changed the roster around. Yeah. But it can go the other way, too. Like we see with the Dream Team and the Eagles in 2010, right? You get too many personalities around. Everybody starts puffing out their chest and, we're good. We're going to go to the playoffs.
Then you start 1-3.
And then you go, oh, crap. Reality sets in, and everybody's been gunning for us.
So let's take a look at our final NFC bracket. If you're watching on YouTube, you can just look here. If you're listening on the podcast, you're going to have to call up the video at some point. But so we got the 1-seed Bears, the 2-seed Rams, the 3-seed Eagles. Do you see any upset matchups in all the games that we have there? What would be your potential upset game where you see a worse-seeded team?
I would get scared of like 5-12 Cowboys-Bucs.
Oh, Buccaneers over the Cowboys, perhaps.
Bucs getting one of their, lackluster offensive game plans. One of the big questions I'll have is Kellen Moore, their new offensive coordinator. Yeah, Bucs, Todd Bowles, he does some creative things. Bruce Arians hits a bomb or two. That would be a little scary down the field. Other than that, Falcons, Packers, the 7-10 matchup, that's kind of interesting, too.
Yeah. Okay,
they've had some good showdowns.
So we got all our brackets. We're completed now through 1 through 16 in the AFC, 1 through 16 in the NFC. We're posting them all to Twitter, so you can go on there. You can vote and tell us that we were crazy or that you agree 100%
or
with
all mine were amazing and immense were not that good.
I mean, that's probably how it will work out. That's how it should work out, too. You're the expert here. So feel free to chime in. So I'm really excited to hear this DeAndre Hopkins interview.
Yeah, me too, man.
You were hanging out with him in New York.
Right.
Just walking around, talking like a couple of bros that have known each other for years.
And which we didn't.
Which you didn't, but it seems like it by listening to it. We're going to take a quick listen to it right now, and then also a reminder that another clip is going to be on YouTube.com that has you sitting at a table with DeAndre where people are trying to convince you.
Change our minds.
Change your mind that DeAndre Hopkins is not the best receiver in football. Here's Chris Simms with DeAndre Hopkins.
What's up, Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast, and I got a special guest. Yes, I do. Cheers. DeAndre Hopkins at Washington Square Park. Yeah, we're that cool. We're hanging out in the park together. Yeah, what up?
What's up?
We're cool to sit here, right? We should show the park rangers are right here, so we are scared to death of them.
Don't lock us up.
I want to get people to know you because I was also one of those kind of semi-haters on you early in the career.
Understood, man.
You understood? So you're not mad at me personally?
No, it's not the person, man.
Okay, and it wasn't that I didn't think you were awesome. I just wasn't at first putting you in the elite class.
It's part of the business, man. I don't blame you.
Okay, good. I appreciate that about you.
Problem,
totally.
Man.
So I really actually want to ask you this.
All right.
Okay, I always like to ask this. You're the man. We know that. Who are the other two or three receivers? And I know there's a lot of awesome ones out there. We're not trying to hate on anybody. But who are the 2 or 3 guys where you go, Dan, that's a baller right there?
1, I'm going to go with Julio Jones.
Okay.
The guy's almost unguardable.
Right.
2, I'm going to go with Mike Thomas.
Okay.
From the Saints.
Yeah, he's similar to you.
Yeah, he is, man.
Right.
Those 2, I feel like are, we're in the same, realm of
physicality. Doesn't matter if you're covering me or not. I'm still going to catch the ball.
Yeah, but those guys had, great quarterbacks throwing the football.
Yeah.
So, I feel like Julio is number 2. So is myself, and I'll go Mike.
Yeah.
Number 3.
I feel like the quarterback conversation is why people don't know you. I mean,
exactly.
I really think. And now they're starting to get to know you because you got Deshaun Watson and somebody helping you out. Why don't you get the attention some of the other receivers do in the NFL?
Yeah.
And did you want to hear my answer?
Yeah, man.
But I think we've heard it. We've heard it, right?
Yeah.
I really think it's the lack of quarterback play. Shit, I think you got overshadowed at Clemson because everybody was obsessed with Sammy Watkins.
Right.
So I'm glad we're doing this out here together today. Well, let me see your hands, because I got big hands, and holy shit, you got big hands.
Man, you're a quarterback.
You know what they say about big hands, don't you?
Big gloves.
Ew! How dare you use my own line against me? Damn you. Okay, so many things I want to talk to you about. First of all, fashion. Like, where did this come from, your love for fashion? You wear some outfits that I could not pull off.
Oh, man, thank you. I think you could pull it off, though.
What do you think? You read this right
You're
here.
a quarterback, man. You're not the sharpest in the nah, but man, it came from being in South Carolina.
Okay.
Growing up in South Carolina, we always had a sense of our own fashion. Even though people think it's the country,
right?
We're behind, but we always dress nice. We would wear collared shirts, nice pants. Just kind of always dressed up. I don't know if it was starting from like being in church all the time, and dressing nice. And how my mom always wanted us to dress. But, I would say growing up in South Carolina, man.
And then you got your cash and said, let me start dabbling into some more fashion? Is that how that went from there?
Got my cash, I could afford better things than Target, T-shirts, even though I still wear Target T-shirts. But fashion is about, what you make it, man. It's not about necessarily how expensive it is, but how you put it together.
Your pregame outfits, some of the outfits I've seen you overseas doing all that stuff. You go to fashion shows and all that?
I do. I love it, man.
Damn.
Just the weirdness of clothes. Some of the stuff never makes it to the public that they have.
Stay away from my wife, all right? Because my wife likes fashion, and I don't even want to know what you spend in a year. What's the craziest thing you ever bought? Like money-wise, I want to know big dollars.
I bought a 1 of 3 antique Mason Margiela vest. It cost $6,000.
Damn.
But I had to go to Paris to buy it. So it's something that it's like an art piece, man.
Right.
It gains value over time.
I do get that. That's what my wife always tells me about her bags. She's like, I can resell it for a lot of money.
I guess it depends which one.
Yeah.
That's the argument.
Yeah, that's the argument,
yeah,
right?
The argument.
Yeah, no, they're a lot of money. I know that.
Yeah.
All right, so when you're over there, also, I know you're a big soccer fan, but you hung out with Neymar, right?
Yeah.
What's that like? Neymar, like, what scale is he on?
Man,
superstar-wise.
Man, it's crazy. I've never experienced anything like it.
Right.
I thought we were big here, being American football players, but him, he can't go outside without people knowing who he is or having security. But it's a different level. It's like Michael Jackson, over here.
Right.
But they love.
I don't know if that's the best name to talk about right now, but
he's
Michael's still like a great singer.
He's like Prince. He's like Prince over here.
That's
I guess.
Better.
But yeah, it was a amazing experience.
How did you become this lover of soccer and involved in this so much?
Oh man, so my best friend growing up in South Carolina, he played soccer his whole life. Played collegiate, and I would be his dummy, his soccer buddy. It would be him and I outside. So it started early, and I always wanted to play. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, I chose the right sport now.
You did.
I love soccer, man, and my best friend growing up played soccer, so we would always play. I'll play pickup at Clemson as well. Soccer players there.
And that's where you get the feet from, at the line
of
scrimmage and all that. All right, this is the thing I always have. This is a theory, okay? I want you to hear me out on this one. Because I like soccer too.
Okay.
But I always tell, especially some of my European friends, I go, if America wanted to dominate in soccer, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm saying, like, you at the age of 12 went all in on soccer. You, Tyreek, Odell, okay, Jalen Ramsey. We get all you on a soccer field. You got LeBron and goalie, okay? Something like that.
James Harden and left wing.
That's what I mean. You name the football, basketball players, whoever you want to put in. Do you really think any other country can mess with us in soccer?
Nah.
No, right?
Hands down, we would run it.
Right.
But that's where we go wrong, because we make soccer something different in America, where you have to have a certain amount of money to play early.
Right.
It's unfortunate, man.
Yeah.
But I think if those guys, had the access to play soccer, they probably would have, explored it.
Yes.
Might have would have chose basketball.
Right.
But still, I don't think any country has the athletes that we have here.
No,
hands down.
No. I agree with you. It's on another level.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, our best athletes, the 5th best athlete in our country plays soccer. So that's what I always fight against.
Right, exactly, man.
You went through a period of your career where you played with a rotating cast of quarterbacks, okay?
The most ever.
Right, the most ever. And I think that's why you didn't get your notoriety. That's why we got you out here today. Let the football fans know you.
Right.
But what's it been like since you got Deshaun Watson? And just talk about him as a person and a player.
Man, Deshaun Watson is amazing.
Yeah.
Even better person.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Even right now, he's in California throwing with guys on the team, trying to get better.
Right.
But Deshaun has definitely elevated my game, made me want to be better. Seeing his injury last year, everybody felt bad for him, but he didn't feel bad for himself.
Man.
He wanted to come out and work even harder and be better, and I feel like he proved it this year.
Are
making a Pro Bowl.
Yep. Are you going to get in his ear a little and be
course.
like, stop taking car crash hits? So
Oh, man.
I need you out here to throw me the ball.
Oh,
like
man.
the fate of our team holds on it.
Every time he's on the ground, I'm like, all right, are you okay? Like, I feel like a surgeon every time he gets hit. Like, Deshaun, like, don't get hit, man. Be careful.
You just watch to see if he's getting up okay.
Hopkins!
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, baby.
What's up, man? How you doing,
How
bro?
are you? I'm good.
Yeah, man.
Keep up the big plays.
Appreciate it, bro.
Stay off the injury list. Nah, you be scaring me with those catches. So I'm like,
Right,
yo,
right,
is
you
he
like-
okay? You're very acrobatic.
Yeah, man.
Yo, I saw your Snapchat. I'm like, what? D-Hop? Are you serious?
Yeah,
you know,
man.
man.
Yeah,
Good luck
man.
next
Thank
year.
you. Thank you.
Man, see, I mean, the plan is working.
Hey,
we
man.
got you out here to get the people to know you.
We making it happen, man. We making it happen.
We're in the NYC, and people are showing you big time love.
Hey, man. Big Apple.
Big Apple, big
Apple.
things, big money. We got it all.
Odell just left.
Odell just left. They're already looking for the replacement. We've had a few people ask, is he going to go to the Giants maybe?
I think that's what they're thinking,
I
man.
know, I
feel
know.
like that's what's cooking,
That's
man.
right.
I like New York, though, man.
No,
I love New York,
New
man.
York's cool, man. I grew
All these
up
people
right
know
here.
me? Like,
Right.
Man, I'm surprised.
No, they love you here in New York, and then when you drop a pass, they hate you for a little bit.
Right, then
then they go back to loving you.
Yeah.
And then when you retire, you become a legend.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about New York.
Yeah.
A few other things. Number 10. How'd that come about? We're in
Messi.
Damn,
it
you're
was-
that in love with soccer.
I
Then.
am, man. I am.
Damn.
Messi is my favorite athlete of all time.
Is that right?
Messi. With the things he does for his height and how
Right.
big he is, people don't expect it. And I always felt like he was underrated, but still people knew he was great. Kind of like my situation,
Oh, that
you know, especially coming out of Clemson when I made a decision.
Right.
I was like, you know, people know I'm good, but they don't know how good I can be. They don't know my potential. So I was like, you know, who else is like that? My favorite athlete.
Right. And Messi's it.
Messi's
Messi,
it.
like, you know more about him than I do.
Yeah.
He could be an awesome slot receiver, it looks like.
Man, he could be awesome. Yeah, receiver for sure.
Yeah, slot. He's slot, right?
Yeah,
He's too
he can't come
small
on outside.
to be
Yeah,
coming outside trying to do what you do.
Yeah.
Okay, within that, this is another thing I just love to ask guys, because I know you play a lot of dudes that are the real deal. And you play in a division that's got some corners.
Oh yeah, some of the best.
Who is? I mean, I always look at Jalen Ramsey and go, he's the best corner in football, and I'm not sure the guy that's across from him, A.J. Bouye, might not be
Isn't as
second
bad.
best, right?
Exactly. I would say, man, those two are definitely the best two cornerbacks in our league.
Yeah.
The best cornerback, I'm gonna have to go with Jalen.
Jalen?
I'm gonna have to go with Jalen, man.
Yeah, I think so too.
His size and his athleticism. He could play receiver if he wanted to,
Right.
man. But his ball skills and his competitiveness, that's what makes him the ultimate DB to go against.
What is that, like, Jalen's, like, you're kind of quiet and reserved, but you got an edge about you, like
Right.
a chip on your shoulder. I see the fire in your
Right.
eye. Jalen is loud and brash.
He is.
What goes on between you and him? Because he's probably not used to getting bullied.
No,
You're
he's
one of the
not.
few receivers
So-
that can push him around a little.
So it's funny. He doesn't have that same, I guess, energy
Right.
of talking trash when he plays against me.
So, 'cause
Not that it's not there, but
Right.
it's a respect
It's
factor.
right,
like,
right.
okay, let me first make some plays on this guy before I talk.
Yeah.
Because he knows I'm going to stay composed the whole game.
Right.
So, you know, between Jalen and I, man, it's a quiet game, honestly, man.
That's crazy.
It's the quietest.
Because I would just picture a lot of F you,
Nah,
I'll eat
man,
that,
it's-
I got it.
It's actually none of that against him, man.
Man, yeah,
Yeah.
you balled out against him this
Yeah,
year.
I mean, that's what happened,
Yeah.
you know, when you know you have to, you know, go hard every play.
Okay, so the other thing I want to ask you, I mean, this is like the joy of my day, okay?
All
I
right.
met DeAndre. He wasn't sure who the hell I was at first. He was like, wait, I know you played in the NFL. And then he asked me, wait, what school did you go to? And I said, I went to Texas. And he goes,
That was my favorite college, man.
He
That,
go-
you the reason I.
you were number 2 at Texas. And I was like, what?
This is
He
my-
knows me.
This is my favorite quarterback when I was young.
Man, I'm glad. I was
Texas,
like,
University of Texas was my favorite team growing up because of him. No
wow.
lie, legit.
Did they recruit you?
Nah, man, they
What
they
the
did
hell
it.
were we doing?
I don't know, I was in South Carolina, man.
Yeah, I
They
know.
knew I was a Clemson boy.
Yeah.
No chance.
No, I mean, you're really the start of like the Clemson rise to power to what it is now. I mean,
I would say so too, man.
Right?
The Chick-fil-A Bowl against LSU,
Right.
That 4th and 16 catch, I think that kind of took us over the hump of being known as Clemsoning.
No doubt, and being a dominant force.
Right.
Yeah, do you go back a lot and hang out with those guys or the crew at all anymore?
Not much as I should,
Right.
but I'm from there. I'm born and raised in Clemson.
Right.
So I go back a lot and visit my family.
Gotcha.
But just, you know, family time, man. It's family time. They don't want me to leave.
Yeah, no, I respect that. Hey, I mean, I'm done with you, but I just want, first of all, you made my day saying you were a fan of me, but I'm a big fan of you.
Thank you, man.
And I'm glad we got to do this and
Me
people
too,
get to
man.
know you. You and Deshaun, man. That's like one of my favorite combos in football,
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
DeAndre Hopkins on Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast. Tell the people to subscribe to the Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast.
Subscribe to the Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast right now if you haven't already. Make sure you go do that.
And do you like the top button?
I like the top button,
Top
man.
button swag? You're down with that? My
That's
boss
perfect.
gives me issues with this.
Nah, man, that's you.
Tell my boss to back off.
Chris Simms can do that.
Yeah, thank
Not
you.
too many people can do that, but Chris Simms can do that.
Thanks, man.
All right, thank you,
You're the
man.
man. I appreciate it.
No problem, man.
Thanks
My
a lot.
pleasure, man.
Thanks a lot.
Seriously.
Good dude. He's a
Great
good dude.
Great
and he
dude.
knew you and didn't even know he knew you.
I mean, I'm not even joking. Like, when I hear things like that, it actually, like, it really makes me happy as a person. It really does. I mean, he is a special football player, and I know my career was nothing special, but it's cool just to know that somebody was watching or at least paying attention every now and then.
Yeah, it just very, seems humble. Seems humble. He
Extremely
knows he's
humble.
very good because he
Yes.
is very good. And you
Right.
should know you're good when you're
Right.
very good, but seems very humble. It did seem like you were recruiting him to New York a few times there.
Oh.
Like walking him around, saying, look at all this. Like, this could be yours.
That's all we got while we walked around. Are you here for a reason? Are you thinking about coming to the Giants maybe
Yeah.
next year? You know, I mean, that's all it was young kids coming up trying to figure out why he was walking around. But it's cool. I'm glad we got to spend a little time with him. You know, again, go on the youtube.com/NBC Sports. You'll be able to see the other little segment where we kind of
Change our minds.
got involved with the fans that
Yeah.
were around and had some discussions about change our minds. Tell us why DeAndre Hopkins is not the best receiver in football. And he welcomed it. He was great. He challenged the fans. It's kind of a cool segment. So it was cool.
Did any fan walk up and say, I've got you about maybe 15 to 20?
No, nobody even dared with that. Nobody dared with that. It was always Odell, Antonio Brown,
Yeah.
you know, all the names you would expect to be in the conversation. And he understands that, and I think he totally respects that too.
DeAndre Hopkins, cool to hear him. Cool to hear you two guys together, and check that out on YouTube. Before we go, winners and losers.
Yeah.
Winners and losers from the weekend. Do you want to start with a winner?
Okay, I'll start with a winner. I mean, St. Patrick's weekend, and Ryan Fitzpatrick gets signed as a starting quarterback. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he would be a winner for me this weekend.
Oh.
Again, always falling into like what seems to be an optimal spot. I swear Ryan Fitzpatrick has a shamrock up his ass. I'm pretty sure he does.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, he wins this weekend because right now he's the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, and I don't think anybody envisioned us saying Ryan Fitzpatrick would be the starting quarterback for anybody. So that was certainly big news for him and the Dolphins.
The winner is Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm going to go a former player for my winner. Actually, just recently a former player. Haloti Ngata what did I say? Haloti Ngata.
You mixed up his first name and his back.
I did a
his last
Simms, which
name.
actually is an Ahmed.
Yeah.
Haloti Ngata. Wow,
Yeah.
how did I do that? Just announced his retirement atop of Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
So Mount Kilimanjaro, he said, I want to retire on top.
Wow.
And so he climbed up the mountain, and he posted on Instagram. And so, 13-year career.
13-year
First
career.
9 with Baltimore, then 3 with Detroit, and then with Philly the last year.
I played against him in his first game.
Did he crush you?
You know,
in his first game.
In his first game as a pro, his rookie year. You know what he did? He did crush me, but he also intercepted me. Do you believe that?
No.
Yeah. He intercepted me.
His
and then
first
gave
game.
our running back, like Michael Pittman, like a piggyback down the sidelines as they tried to tackle him. But yes, I threw a ball. The right guard got run over, and he tipped the ball in the air as I was throwing it.
Yeah.
And it bounced up in the air and fell into his hands. And yeah, I got an interception for that one.
Haloti Ngata. What, either way.
Yeah, he was a baller, man. One of the best defensive tackles in football for a while.
So he's my winner. He's my winner of the weekend.
Right.
Coming out on top.
Yep. Okay. We going to losers, or are we staying in the winner fashion here?
You have another winner?
I do have one more winner.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Hey, climate change. That was a winner this weekend. The climate strike. I'm bringing it up again for the second pod in a row.
Yeah.
But here's where it goes into more of the NFL. Okay. Why is climate change a winner this weekend? Because Cam Newton went vegan, okay? Totally vegan.
Wow.
And for those out there who don't know about climate change, the #1 contributor to climate change in our world is red meat. and all the cows that we have in the world that spew methane every time they go moo, and that's 20 times stronger than carbon dioxide. It's that much worse for the atmosphere.
Right.
And here in America, we're all cheated if we don't eat 900 pounds of red meat every week.
Correct.
I mean, we're cheated as Americans.
Medium rare.
And it's become an issue. But no, Cam Newton going to vegan is also why I want to play that. He wants to get down to 235. I think he wants to be able to move a little bit better, take a little stress off his joints when he does cut, move, do things like that. So it's a win-win. Not only did Cam Newton win, but the climate won this weekend.
But I've got a question for you. So if cows are bad for the environment, shouldn't we be eating them? Just get them out of here, right? We eat them,
and we're going to continue to produce them at such a big rate.
Yes, that's the problem.
But I mean, you know,
I'm saying we're doing our part by eating them to get them off the planet.
No, we need to lessen the demand, so then they lessen the supply. Okay, we have all this farmland in our country. 80% of our farmland gets used just for cow feed. Okay?
Yeah.
The other 20% is, here, humans, you can eat it, but we got to worry about the rest to feed the cows that are then going to feed us. We need to curtail that a little bit.
I've got a loser of the week, and this loser is basically whoever has followed college basketball, like really follows it,
right?
Like would watch regular season games all the time. You're the loser of the week because you have zero chance of winning your pool. You're just not going to do it. Anyone who has followed along in college basketball is not going to win their office pool because it inevitably will be won by someone who watched 1 or 0 games throughout the season. That's how it works.
Pretty much. I mean, I know I don't watch a lot of college basketball, but I've lost my bracket to my wife my last 2 years, who I can promise you watches no college basketball. So that proves your point.
We have a family pool in our family. It's like 30 people get involved in it every year, and the person who won it last year was an aunt of mine who has never watched a college basketball game in her life.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
And she won it, and so it wasn't like I was some expert, but yeah, she won it. So if you follow college basketball, you unfortunately are a loser because you will not win your pool.
Yeah, okay, all right. And I got one. So my loser would be this right here. Long-term contracts in the NFL. Right, this stat, and this is via Peter King of NBC Sports, okay? But I love this because what I mean by long-term contracts are losers because what we are seeing in the NFL, and again, there's always this rage when the player outperforms his contract and he asks for more money. The public goes, oh, shut up. You signed a contract. Honor your contract. You're supposed to just play. They're paying you to play football. But yet I never hear the other side of the story. When the player gets cut by a team and he has 3 more years on his contract, the fans don't ever seem to criticize the organization and go, on the contract.
Yeah.
You signed him to this. I hate that. And this just proves it. There's been 197 contracts of 3 or more years signed over the last 3 years. Okay? 121 out of the 197 have not seen the 3rd year of their contract. So that just tells you, once again, all these numbers we've saw the last few weeks and free agency and everything, it's all propaganda. It's all 2-year deals with whatever the guaranteed money is.
Right.
And the player is going to have to play so freaking good to get the rest of his contract, to get those numbers.
To not even get more money, to just get what
maybe
the contract
year 3 or maybe year 4. And that might not even get him to year 5 or 6 or whatever it may be. But yes, I'm always trying to shed light on that because it does drive me crazy sometimes the hypocrisy there where it's fine for the owners to cut players, but when players ask for more money, how dare they? I just don't like that.
Well, that's always the debate with football and the way they have their CBA and their players union has not been able to get guaranteed money.
Yeah, right.
Guarantee the entirety of the deal. Where sports like baseball and basketball, those contracts are guaranteed. A baseball player, if he's not producing in year 7, still gets that money because it's guaranteed. And you do hear the argument sometimes from fans that say, well, you can't football. The injury rate is so high that you can't guarantee the deal because then teams are hamstrung with a salary cap. My counter to that is that. Yeah, then figure it out. Pay the guy the money. Don't count it against the cap.
No, right.
I mean, so if you sign a deal, this is the deal. We've agreed to something. Here's the money I'm going to guarantee you. This has got to be collectively bargained, and just don't count it against the salary cap. If that's your main concern is that it's going to screw up a team's capologist and make him work harder, just don't count injuries against the cap, but still pay the guy the money.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of things that need to be reorchestrated with the next CBA, whether it's franchise tags, which drive me crazy, maybe finding ways to keep players, who are veteran star players who maybe you don't want to let out the building or let out, but the price tags become so extreme or so big. Like, let's take Larry Fitzgerald for instance, okay? Like, for a guy like that, you should be able to almost, set aside a few players in every roster to go, no, he's like one of our marquee face of the franchise guys. And I know it's your 12 or 13, and he commands this big, number on the salary cap. But something to work out where you can keep legends of your teams around a little longer to where maybe only half of their number counts against the salary cap. Little things like that I always think about. It keeps the tradition of the team alive. It'll keep rivalries better. It'll just give everybody a little bit more name and face recognition on their franchises.
And the NBA kind of does something like that.
They kind of do that, right? How do they call that?
You can give your superstar players or your own homegrown players like an extra year where other teams can't do that.
Right.
Yeah, I like that too because I think it's nice to see players stay in one spot but still have leverage, still be able to get paid for doing that.
Right.
All right, that's the podcast for today. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one.
A lot of good stuff. We seeded all the teams 1 through 32.
Yep.
Coming up on Wednesday, we got Paul Burmeister back in this seat. You're going to go through Dwayne Haskins' pro day.
Yeah.
He's throwing to
I'm
his
excited
friends.
for it.
He's throwing to his friends. You got to break that down.
I will. I will. We'll be all over it.
And the top 5 running backs in the draft as well.
I'm going to get all over the running backs, but thanks for everybody for tuning in, listening. Remember, you can get the podcast anywhere you download any of your podcasts, iTunes, wherever it may be. Check us out on youtube.com/NBC Sports. Get at me at CSimmsQB or get at me at Simms Unbuttoned on Instagram, which I always forget. But for my man Ahmed Fareed,
let's do it.
I'm Chris Simms. We're out. Peace out, homies.